There's an update coming as far as the standoff between India and China is concerned. Eliot Engel, chief of the US House of Representatives Foreign Affairs Committee, said that he was extremely concerned by the Chinese aggression against India along the line of actual control in Ladakh and has urged Beijing to respect norms and use diplomacy and existing mechanisms to resolve its border questions. That's the big story that we have for you at this point in time. Now, United States of America also in a way giving a warning to China and urging Beijing to respect norms and use diplomacy and existing mechanisms to resolve its border questions. In the last couple of days, we have seen tension brewing between India and China, especially along the line of actual control in Ladakh. And now, United States of America has also asked Beijing to respect the norms and use diplomacy and existing mechanisms to resolve its border questions. Srinjoy Choudhary on the phone line for more on this. Srinjoy, good morning. This is clearly a strong warning coming from US to China.
Oh, yes. This, of course, you have heard the U.S. government speak about it. You have heard Trump speak about it. And now you have a member of the U.S. House of Representatives standing up and saying that this is aggression and this is something that the Chinese have doing in recent times. And this is something that should not be happening. This is a clear message that the Americans, of course, do not have good relations with China at this point. Donald Trump has made that very clear. And Donald Trump has made that very clear by saying that the next G7 should not have China. Apart from the G7 members, you're looking at Russia, India, Australia, South Korea, but not China, one of the largest economies of the world. Here again, independently, a Republican member of the U.S. House of Representatives standing up and saying China was an aggressor. This is roughly the statement that has been made by senior officials of the U.S. State Department in the past. So it's clear that the Americans have a very strong line against China.
Thank you very much, Srinjoy, for the moment for joining us with all of those details. We are now moving on to another update coming at this point in time. Congress Party's Manish Tiwari has politicized the entire issue. He tweets, and I quote, "A dangerous lie is being peddled by apologists of government. LAC is a phantom, hence no Chinese transgression. Fact, China has occupied 40 to 60 square kilometers of Indian territory while government slept. Intelligence, tactical failure, redux Kargil 21 years later." Prashant, my colleague, is joining us on the broadcast for more on this. Prashant, in fact, a stinging attack coming from Manish Tiwari of the Congress Party on the issue of China.
Well, absolutely. Not the first time from the Congress leader, but yeah. Manish Tiwari has this morning come out and said that perhaps, as he says, and I quote, "A dangerous lie is being peddled by the apologists of the government. The LSE is a phantom and hence no Chinese transgression." He's also saying that, in fact, he claims that the fact is that China has occupied 40 to 60 square kilometers of Indian territory while the government slept, and he calls it an intelligence and tactical failure. And he's also saying that perhaps NDA and BJP's silence is beginning for the fact that they are not coming out with anything clear and they are not giving clear answers as to what exactly is happening. This, of course, at a time when the government has very clearly said that whatever is happening is being dealt through by proper diplomatic channels in both the countries. But the Congress Party believes that the government is not doing anything and perhaps a free hand is being given to China. And there are falsehoods that are being peddled. So clearly the Congress Party needs to explain what it exactly thinks about it. But for now, Manish Tiwari, the member of Parliament of the Congress Party, there were some serious allegations against the government here.
Thank you very much, Prashant, for the moment for joining us with all of those details. We have a couple of political reactions as well on this. Let's listen in.
I'm a little bit worried that the seriousness with which it should be handled is not apparent, at least is not apparent in the government's conduct. India can never become a party to a plan against China. We have to have our own separate relationship with China. We need it, we must have it, and it's important if we want to make our presence an effective presence in the world. Then in the neighborhood, we must also have an effective presence. And China is our neighbor. We cannot forget that.
The government must initiate steps to see to it that, there cannot be any encroachment on our land. And for that, all steps are required to be taken, including one of giving a big economic jerk to China by total boycott of the use of China products in India, because India is one of the biggest consumer. And I think once we en bloc stop using consuming the Chinese products, it would certainly have some economic impact, but that may not by itself enough. I would suggest that the government must take up in international fora also.
There should be only one policy for India, and that is India first. There should be only one policy, protecting our national security and our territorial integrity. Everything else is secondary and should be relegated. Important issue today, Samia, is that news reports, security experts, army journals, and everybody who writes on defense have been repeatedly pointing out that there have been serious transgressions. And if the reports of Chinese pitching hundreds of tents, creating concrete structures, and building roads on the north bank of Pangong Tso Lake, as also across the line of actual control in the Galwan River Valley, up to the Darbuk Shayok DBO road, are true, then it indeed has serious national security ramifications.
You have destroyed the economy. You have destroyed our small and peasant. You have destroyed our peasantry. You have destroyed the small industries. And now you are talking about the Chinese goods. Once again, I want to say it is nothing more than a narrow nationalistic ideas just to divert the minds of the people. First, it was Corona Hindu-Muslim. Now Corona pandemic is not going to go away from here, so it will remain. Now new things coming up. Stop this, Mr. Modi. Stop this.
No call has been given to boycott Chinese goods, for that matter American goods or any such thing. Government has not given a call. Defense Minister has not given a call. External Affairs Minister has not a given call. Even Prime Minister has not a given call. It is not a national call. And what I understand, as responsible citizens, we should not do anything which can escalate tension.